The casket was closed at my daughter-in-law's insistence, citing the severity of the accident. Standing there in my black dress, watching a somber procession of mourners file past the sealed coffin that supposedly held my son, a text message flashed on my phone, a jolt that nearly brought me to my knees. "Mom, I'm alive. That's not me in the box. If you're seeing this charade, subscribe to Danny's Deception and let me know where you're watching from." Let me rewind and explain how this unsettling drama unfolded. Like many, I believed I knew my family intimately. I'm Margaret Walsh, 67 years old, and I had recently retired after a 42-year career teaching high school English. I raised my son, Danny, alone after his father abandoned us when Danny was only 6. We were close, or so I thought. Danny married Stephanie 3 years prior, a woman I'd struggled to embrace despite persistent misgivings. She was domineering, skilled at manipulation, and adept at creating distance between Danny and those who cared about him. But I held my tongue, desiring my son's happiness above all else. 2 weeks before the alleged accident, Danny called, sounding uncharacteristically animated about a new business pursuit. "Mom, Stephanie and I are venturing into real estate development. We've found an incredible prospect in Florida. I can't divulge too many details yet, but we might need to relocate temporarily." His voice held a spark of excitement I hadn't detected in years. "Just be cautious, sweetheart," I cautioned, my motherly intuition on high alert. "These investment opportunities can be treacherous." "It's not a gamble, Mom. This is legitimate, big-time money, life-altering money." He chuckled, but there was a forced quality to it. "Stephanie is a whiz with numbers. She's got it all figured out." The following week, I received the dreaded phone call that no parent ever wants to receive. Stephanie, in a torrent of sobs, relayed that Danny had been killed in a fiery car crash. The vehicle had been engulfed in flames, making identification nearly impossible. She insisted on managing all the funeral arrangements, her voice choked with emotion. "I can't bear for you to witness him like that," she'd sobbed into the phone. "Please, Margaret, allow me to shield you from this horror." The performance felt overly rehearsed, but grief can cloud judgment. Having buried my husband 2 decades earlier, I knew how shock could distort behavior. Therefore, I reluctantly agreed to the closed casket, a decision that went against every instinct. But now, at my son's funeral, his implausible text illuminated on my phone, I realized my instincts had been issuing dire warnings. The woman weeping theatrically beside me wasn't a grieving widow. She was an actress delivering the performance of a lifetime. And evidently, my son was very much alive. I discreetly slipped away from the funeral parlor, my hands trembling as I typed a response. "Where are you? What's going on?" The reply was immediate. "Can't explain now. They're watching. Meet me at the old Miller farm tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Come alone. Don't trust Stephanie." My mind raced as I rejoined the mourners, forcing myself to accept condolences from neighbors and friends oblivious to the empty charade. Stephanie clung to my arm, her flawlessly applied makeup defying the constant flow of tears. "Thank you for being so strong, Margaret," she whispered, squeezing my hand tightly. "Danny would be so proud of your resilience." I wanted to seize her by the shoulders and demand the truth, but a gut feeling cautioned me to play along. If Danny was in hiding, there was a reason. If these people were capable of faking his death, confronting Stephanie publicly could jeopardize us both. Instead, I offered a sad smile and patted her hand. "We'll navigate through this together, dear." The Miller farm, a place where Danny used to take girls as a teenager, believing I was unaware, had been deserted for years. It sat on 20 acres of overgrown land, 15 miles outside of town, the perfect secluded rendezvous point. Sleep evaded me that night. Every creak and groan in the house sent a jolt of anxiety through me. Every shadow appeared ominous. What had Danny entangled himself in? Was he truly in danger? Or was this an elaborate deception orchestrated by him and Stephanie? The logical part of my brain suggested the text could be a cruel hoax, fueled by my grief-stricken hope. Yet, the message originated from Danny's phone, and only he would know about the Miller farm. The next afternoon, I steered my trusty old Honda down the rutted dirt road leading to the derelict farmhouse, my heart pounding in my chest. If Danny was alive, why the charade of his death? If he was in peril, why not seek my help directly? As I approached the dilapidated house, a figure emerged from behind the weathered barn. Even from a distance, I recognized the gait, the way he carried his shoulders. It was my son, unmistakably alive and glancing nervously over his shoulder. Danny raced to my car as I parked. Stepping out, he enveloped me in a fierce embrace, confirming what my heart already knew. This was tangible. My boy was breathing, warm, alive. "Mom, I'm so sorry," he whispered into my hair. "I never wanted you to endure that funeral, but I had to ensure your safety first." "Safe from what?" I pulled back, searching his face for answers. His eyes were haunted, reflecting a depth of experience far beyond his years. "From the people Stephanie has been involved with. Mom, I genuinely believe they want to kill me." We sat in his truck behind the decaying barn as Danny explained how his ostensibly perfect marriage had spiraled into a horrifying predicament. Stephanie hadn't married him solely out of affection, but for something far more valuable than a teacher's pension. "Remember when Grandpa Joe passed away and bequeathed you that parcel of land in Colorado?" Danny asked. I nodded. My father had owned 40 acres of what everyone assumed was worthless mountain terrain. I'd never even seen it. I just paid the property taxes every year out of habit. Stephanie had it surveyed without our knowledge. It turns out there's a natural gas reserve beneath it worth millions, possibly tens of millions. Danny's jaw tightened. "She's been scheming to acquire it since day one." "But the land is still in my name," I said, bewildered. "It was in your name. Remember those documents you signed last month? The ones Stephanie represented as updates to Danny's life insurance beneficiaries?" My blood ran cold. I had trusted my daughter-in-law when she presented a stack of legal papers, explaining that Danny wanted to ensure our family's financial security. I signed them without meticulous scrutiny because I trusted her implicitly. "She falsified some of the documentation," Danny continued. "She made it look like you were transferring the property to me as part of estate planning, and then she had me sign papers making her the sole heir if anything happened to me." The pieces of the puzzle were slotting into place with terrifying clarity. "So, if you're dead, she inherits land worth millions." "Precisely. But here's where it escalates. The people she's working with aren't just pen pushers, they're criminals, Mom. They've targeted other families before, preying on older individuals with valuable assets they underestimate. That familiar surge of protective rage, which I had experienced throughout Danny's childhood, washed over me. No one threatens my son and gets away with it. "How did you discover all this?" "I overheard a phone conversation. Stephanie was discussing how they would orchestrate my accident. She was already planning my funeral before I was even supposed to be dead." He shuddered. I realized I had mere hours before they made their move. "So you vanished?" "I had to, but I also needed to ensure they believed their plan had succeeded, at least temporarily. If they suspected I was alive, they might target you to coerce me out of hiding." I scrutinized my son's face, recognizing the man he had become under immense pressure. "Whose body is in that casket, Danny?" "Nobody's. It's weighted with sandbags. I hoped that buying time would allow me to uncover evidence to expose them." He gazed at me with a plea for help. "Mom, I need your assistance. These people are dangerous, and I can't confront them alone." For 4 decades, I had shielded this boy from scraped knees, broken hearts, and adolescent mistakes. Now, he needed my help to survive a far more sinister threat. The part of me that had been a teacher wanted to haul him straight to the police, but the mother in me saw the genuine fear in his eyes. "What do you need me to do?" Danny's relief was palpable. "First, we need to get you somewhere secure. Then, we need to expose Stephanie's scheme before she realizes I am still alive." As if prompted by his words, my phone buzzed with a text from Stephanie. "Margaret, could you come over tonight? I need to review some of Danny's business papers with you." The trap was already closing, but at least we were now aware of it. I agreed to meet Stephanie, acting the part of a grieving mother-in-law, while my very much alive son remained concealed in the abandoned farmhouse. The plan was simple: to procure evidence of her fraudulent scheme while she still perceived me as a gullible target. Stephanie and Danny resided in a modest two-story house I had helped them secure with a down payment gift 2 years prior. Another investment in my son's happiness that had, in retrospect, been part of a protracted deception. "Thank you for coming," Stephanie said, greeting me at the door with red-rimmed eyes and a tremulous voice that would have fooled the most discerning theater critic. An Oscar-worthy performance, truly. She guided me to the kitchen table, which was covered with various documents. "I know this is distressing, but we need to begin addressing Danny's estate. There are some assets that need to be transferred, and I want to ensure you understand everything." I donned my reading glasses and examined the papers, recognizing some from the stack I had signed the month before. Others were new, including what appeared to be a power of attorney form granting Stephanie control over my Colorado property. "I don't understand," I said, adopting the persona of a befuddled elderly woman. "Why would Danny's estate involve my land?" Stephanie's mask slipped for a fraction of a second, a hint of annoyance flashing across her features before the grieving widow resurfaced. "Danny was handling your estate planning, remember? He wanted to streamline things for you as you get older." The patronizing tone made my teeth clench, but I forced myself to appear grateful. "That's very thoughtful. But I'm not that old, dear. I can manage my own affairs." "Of course you can," she quickly replied. "But Danny was concerned about you living alone, especially after you fell last winter." I had slipped on ice and bruised my hip, hardly a sign of mental decline, but I could see how they had been constructing a narrative about my supposed frailty, probably for months. "Well, if Danny thought it was best..." I reached for a pen, then hesitated, feigning confusion. "But why does this document state that the property is worth $12 million? My father's old land isn't worth anything." Stephanie's pupils dilated imperceptibly. That's simply a placeholder number for insurance purposes. Legal documents require estimated values." I nodded as if that explained everything, then purposefully knocked over my water glass, drenching the papers. "Oh no, I'm so clumsy." While Stephanie scrambled for towels, I surreptitiously photographed the soggy documents with my phone. When she returned, I was feebly dabbing at the mess. "I'm so sorry, dear. Perhaps we should postpone this until another day." No, it's fine," Stephanie insisted, but I could sense the frustration she was trying to conceal. "I have copies. Let's concentrate on the property transfer tonight. We can deal with the rest later." She produced a fresh copy of the power of attorney form, and I pretended to read it attentively, all the while studying her face. There was something predatory in her expression when she thought I wasn't watching, like a cat stalking its prey. "Will this help with taxes?" I inquired innocently. "Absolutely. It'll save you thousands." She leaned forward eagerly. "All you need to do is sign right here." I picked up the pen, then set it down again. "You know, I think I should have my lawyer look this over first. Danny always advised never to sign legal documents without professional counsel." The temperature in the room seemed to plummet. Stephanie's smile became forced, almost grotesque. "Margaret, I am family. You can trust me, and the longer we delay, the more complicated the tax implications become." Something in her voice triggered my survival instincts. This wasn't merely about money any longer. I was looking at a woman who would stop at nothing to achieve her objectives, including eliminating obstacles. "I'm sure you understand, dear. It's simply prudent practice." I rose to my feet, gathering my purse. "I'll call my attorney tomorrow." Stephanie's facade finally shattered. "Sit down, Margaret. We're not finished here." The grieving widow had vanished, replaced by something far more menacing, and I recognized that my son hadn't been paranoid at all. The drive back to my house felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life. Every car that followed too closely, every shadow that seemed out of place, caused my hands to tighten on the steering wheel. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I was convinced Stephanie had already deduced that I knew too much. I was right. 3 men were waiting in my living room when I unlocked the front door. They weren't trying to conceal their presence. They had turned on my lamps and made themselves comfortable on my furniture, as if they owned the place. "Mrs. Walsh," said the one seated in my late husband's recliner, a man in his 50s with a forgettable face that became instantly memorable due to the sheer terror it evoked. We need to have a conversation. My teacher instincts kicked in, the same calm authority I had used to manage unruly teenagers for 4 decades. I don't recall inviting anyone into my home. You need to leave immediately. The man smiled, and it was far more unsettling than any overt threat. I'm afraid that's not possible. There has been some misunderstanding regarding your son's business affairs, and we need to clarify things. My son is dead, I stated flatly. Any business he conducted died with him. That's where you're mistaken, Mrs. Walsh. We have reason to believe Danny might not be as deceased as everyone thinks. My heart seized, but I maintained a neutral expression. That's a despicable thing to say. I buried my son today. Did you? The second man, younger with chilling eyes, produced his phone and displayed a grainy photograph of Danny taken near the Miller farm that afternoon. Because this was taken approximately 3 hours ago. I stared at the photograph, my mind racing. How had they located him so quickly? I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing, but no games, Mrs. Walsh. Your son owes us money, a considerable sum of money, and since he's chosen to play dead instead of settling his debt, we'll have to collect from his next of kin. The third man, who had remained silent until now, spoke up. One way or another, we're getting what we're owed. Either Danny resurfaces and pays his dues, or you transfer the Colorado property to cover his debt. They knew about the land, indicating Stephanie had already betrayed everything, probably before Danny's supposed demise. The elaborate scheme was unraveling, and they were moving to Plan B. How much money are we talking about? I asked, attempting to buy time while devising a way to warn Danny. $2.5 million, plus interest. Your son made some ill-advised investment decisions with our capital. The sum landed on me like a physical blow. Even if the land was worth what they claimed, there was no way I could liquidate it quickly enough to save Danny's life. I don't have that kind of money, I confessed honestly. But you possess land worth 10 times that amount. Sign it over to us, and your son's debt is forgiven. He can even return home and stage a resurrection. How very biblical. The man in my husband's chair leaned forward. Or you can continue protecting him, and we'll locate him eventually anyway. But then we'll collect the money and ensure he never troubles us again, along with anyone who assisted him in hiding. The threat was crystal clear. They would murder us both if I didn't cooperate. I need time to consider this, I said. You have until tomorrow night. Stephanie will bring you the papers. He rose to his feet, straightening his jacket. Make the correct decision, Mrs. Walsh, for both your sakes. They departed as casually as they had arrived, leaving me standing in my violated living room, trembling with a blend of fury and terror. 43 years of marriage, 20 years of widowhood, and no one had ever made me feel this powerless in my own home. But feeling powerless and being defeated were two different things. I had been underestimated my entire life because I was a woman, a teacher, polite and accommodating. These men had made the same mistake. They had no concept of what a mother would do to safeguard her child. I drove back to the Miller farm, constantly checking my mirrors and taking a circuitous route to ensure I wasn't being followed. Danny was waiting for me in the dilapidated farmhouse, pacing like a caged animal. They found you, I said without preamble. They have photographs of you here. His face went ashen. How is that possible? I've been so cautious. It's immaterial now. They gave me an ultimatum. Sign over the Colorado land by tomorrow night, or they will kill us both. I sank onto a dusty crate, suddenly feeling the weight of my 67 years. Danny, how did you amass $2.5 million in debt to these individuals? He ran his hands through his hair, looking younger and more vulnerable than he had since he was a teenager caught sneaking out of the house. It started small, Mom. Stephanie said she had discovered some investment opportunities with the potential for rapid wealth, private loans with substantial returns. Let me guess, you needed seed money to get started? Precisely. First it was $10,000, then $25,000. The returns were initially incredible, enough to repay the loans and have money to spare. His voice was laced with self-recrimination. I should have known it was too good to be true. What happened? The entire thing was a Ponzi scheme. When it collapsed, everyone who had borrowed money to invest was left holding the debt. But our loans weren't from banks, Mom. They were from the kind of people who break legs when you default. I thought of the 3 men who had invaded my home, their casual acceptance of violence as an option. And Stephanie was aware of this when she suggested the investments? That's what I'm trying to discern. Either she's the most gullible person alive, or she's been setting me up from the beginning. He gazed at me with desperate eyes. What are we going to do? For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt a spark of the resolve that had sustained me through single motherhood, widowhood, and 40 years of dealing with difficult teenagers. We're going to give them exactly what they want, I said. The Colorado property. Danny's shoulders slumped with a mix of relief and defeat. Mom, I can't allow you to sacrifice everything for my mistakes. Who said anything about sacrifice? I smiled, feeling more like myself than I had in days. Sweetheart, you're assuming that land is our only asset, but you're overlooking something important. What's that? I've been a high school English teacher for 42 years. I've contended with bullies, liars, and manipulators who thought they were smarter than everyone else. I stood up, brushing dust from my clothing. These people believe they're dealing with a terrified old woman who will do anything to save her son. They have no idea they just picked a fight with someone who spent 4 decades outsmarting teenagers. Danny looked confused but hopeful. What's your plan? First, we're going to ensure you're somewhere genuinely safe. Then, I'm going to give Stephanie and her friends a lesson they'll never forget. I checked my watch. But we need to act swiftly. I have papers to sign tomorrow night, and I intend to ensure those papers communicate precisely what I want. Mom, these aren't high school kids trying to cheat on a test. These people are dangerous. I considered the man sitting in my husband's chair, issuing threats in my own living room. The fury I had been suppressing all day coalesced into something cold and resolute. So am I, sweetheart. They just don't know it yet. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in 2 decades. I called in sick to my volunteer work at the library and drove to the city to meet with the one person who could help me transform this disaster into a triumph. Marcus Chen had been my lawyer since my husband's death, but more significantly, he had been my student 30 years ago, a rebellious teenager trying to coast through senior English. Now he ran one of the most respected criminal defense firms in the state, and he still owed me a favor for not failing him when he deserved it. Margaret Walsh, he said, rising from his mahogany desk with a genuine smile. You look precisely the same as when you were terrorizing us with Shakespeare. I prefer educating with enthusiasm, I countered, accepting his embrace. Marcus, I need your assistance with something rather unusual. I laid out the entire story, watching his expression transition from amusement to concern to fascination as I recounted Stephanie's plot, the fabricated funeral, and the threats from Danny's creditors. Let me ensure I grasp the situation, Marcus said, leaning back in his leather chair. Your daughter-in-law forged documents to steal your mineral rights. Your son faked his death to evade loan sharks. And now, the said loan sharks are threatening to kill you both unless you sign over property worth millions. That's the gist of it. Margaret, you realize you're describing multiple felonies here. Fraud, extortion, conspiracy, possibly kidnapping if they are holding you under duress. He pulled out a legal pad. The prudent course of action would be to contact the FBI immediately and have your son arrested for fraud. Have him spend years in prison while these criminals vanish without a trace. I shook my head. There has to be another avenue. Marcus scrutinized me with the same expression he had worn when I returned his failed midterm exam during his senior year. What precisely are you proposing? I want to give them what they want, but on my terms. Can you draft documents that appear legitimate but contain legal traps they won't detect until it's too late? You want to construct a trap? I want to give them sufficient rope to hang themselves while protecting Danny and recovering what they stole from other families. I leaned forward. Marcus, these individuals have a history of this behavior. How many other seniors have lost everything because they trusted the wrong person? Marcus steepled his fingers. I can draft a conditional conveyance. Looks like a deed, functions like a confession. He outlined clauses triggering automatic escrow freezes, identity verification, and recorded acknowledgments, hidden QR notarization, microdot serials, and a timed filing that alerts state investigators if altered. "You'll sign with a pressure ink pen that captures their fingerprints," he said. We added a tiny tracker to the envelope clasp and a body cam brooch to my lapel. By dusk, the packet sat in my tote, heavy as a verdict. Stephanie texted the address, an empty model home outside town. "Come alone," I smiled. Inside. So, what started as a nightmare of deception and danger turned into something far more powerful, a mother's unwavering love and a fierce determination to protect her son. Margaret, armed with her wit, her legal cunning, and the spirit of 1,000 outsmarted teenagers, is ready to turn the tables on Stephanie and her criminal associates. This is just the beginning of our story, and trust me, the showdown is going to be epic. Now, I'm dying to know your thoughts. What do you think Margaret's next move should be? Do you suspect Stephanie is just a pawn, or is she the mastermind behind everything? Leave a comment down below with your theories, questions, or anything else that's on your mind. I love reading your perspectives and hearing what you think. And if you enjoyed this wild ride and don't want to miss the thrilling conclusion, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know when part 2 of Danny's deception drops, and you won't miss a single twist, turn, or moment of justice. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to continue this adventure with you all.